Hey friends, your pal Mike Shea from Sly Flourish here with another episode of Sly Flourish's Lazy DM Prep. In this weekly show, I go through steps from Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master while preparing for my Sunday D&D game. In this case, I am running the Wizards of the Coast hardcover adventure Rime of the Frostmaiden. This show, like all of the work of Sly Flourish, is brought to you by the patrons of Sly Flourish. If you want to help support shows like this, you can do so by going to patreon.com/SlyFlourish and signing up. Patrons get access to all kinds of exclusive material, video previews, previews of things that I'm putting out in the future, all different kinds of stuff. But most of all, they help me put on shows like this. So we are coming pretty close. We're definitely aiming for the end of this campaign. We are a good ways into the Caves of Hunger, and we are headed towards the city of Yethrin, the ruined city of Yethrin. And so everything's starting to narrow down in our Frostmaiden game here, which I'm happy about. We were talking a little bit before the show about like, hey, now that I'm deep into it, how do I feel about Frostmaiden? I don't recommend it, right? I think the short answer is if you're looking for a campaign adventure, I think there are many other campaign adventures that I would recommend more than this one. And the reason for that is this campaign has required me to do far more work than I think I should have to do to wrangle a fun campaign, to wrangle together a fun campaign when I'm buying a hardcover book. I think there are many others. I of course recommend Curse of Strahd is excellent, and Tomb of Annihilation. Those are my top two big hardback campaign adventures. And then of course Lost Mines of Phandelver and Dragon of Icebire Peak, the two starter set and Essentials Kit adventures I love as well. And then there's, I have a whole ranking. There's another video where I have a whole ranking of all my adventures, but I think this one's on the bottom of the list. There are so many aspects to it that have taken so much work for me to wrangle that I just don't recommend it. And in other videos and in articles, I will talk about what are the specific things you can do to wrangle it together, because more so than telling you, hey, I didn't like it, is if you're running it, here are things you can do, and that, in my opinion, to make it better. But I will say this, when it comes to the Caves of Hunger, that part of it has been running very smooth. I've had to change very little, and it's run very easily. I've had not a lot of trouble. The only trouble there is, like almost every major monster stat block in this, I've had to rebuild the stat block around something that I liked, because there's kind of three big stat blocks for three major villains in this one. There is the stat block for the three stat blocks for Oral the Frostmaiden. There is the stat block for the Chardalon Dragon, and there's the stat block for Tekeli-li, the Vampire Gnoll. None of those stat blocks worked for me. All of them I feel would not have played either I started to run them as they were and I didn't like how they ran, or I looked at them and immediately said, yeah, it's not going to run like they are. Two of the three of those are legendary monsters that don't have any legendary traits. So a Vampire Gnoll is going to get banished in one shot and disappear. So it's far more important to turn them into legendary creatures, which I did, and it worked out really well. So let's take a look at what happened last time. Old session notes. We began the last session facing off against Tekeli-li the Vampire, and I changed up Tekeli-li's stat block. I can't remember how. I think I just used the Vampire stat block and reflavored it with Tekeli-li's stuff, and that worked well. I did have him, they fought him for a while, and they beat him around enough that he then fled. He didn't really flee. He left the battle as the kobold vampire spawns also fled, and kind of left the characters to sort of recuperate. So it was sort of I haven't yet brought in the Knight's Kiss stuff. That will probably happen today. It did start off with Tekeli-li choking Gore. That was fun. We had the kobold vampires. The Remoraz egg is beginning to wiggle and grow, and that's certainly a thing. They're hearing about the ancient creature in deeper in the mines, this weird old one that's frozen in the ice. That's certainly going to come in. Maybe it's a Farum. I'm not sure. Maybe it's something else. It might be fun if it's a living Farum, right? This kind of, I don't know what I want to do with that. It might be better to throw the Farum stuff out and stick to like Lovecraftian cyclopean horror stuff, because that's what Thrun is, right? So we had a bunch of secrets. Tekeli-li tormented his prey, feeds off of fear. That didn't really come up. Tekeli-li lairs in a chamber of the monstrosity. That does. Same blood that Tekeli-li drank is the same that Ilda's father had fed to her when she was an infant. Yes. So we found out that Ilda, Aachen, and Tekeli-li are all connected by the fact that they've drank the blood of this, I think in different amounts and in different ways and with different rituals. Every time Ilda rages, she gets closer to Thrun. That did come up. Tekeli-li transforms a clan of kobolds into vampires known as the Black Fangs. Yes. Great beasts from other worlds they trapped in the ice. Yes. I don't think they know that yet, but they've seen things. Netherese battled powerful monsters known as Farum. I don't think that came up. Tekeli-li was trapped in the caves of hunger and drank from a black oily pool and became a vampire. They did know that. Thrun wasn't the only creature drawn out of the void. No. Netherese used what the elves had done to open up portals to the far realm and pull the other horrors in. No. The Night's Kiss traveled down into the caves of hunger. They have a teleportation. That did not come up. Alkin has been to Yethrin before. Yes, that came up. The history and fate of the god Mistral are tied up in the story of Netherreal's fate. I think all this stuff did come up. So we've been running this in Owlbear Rodeo, and they've been exploring the map. Let's take a look at the map. I wonder, for funsies, what if I load Owlbear Rodeo up and we take a look at, so here is, let's see, let's drop that out so it's a little bit bigger. So here's the Caves of Hunger map that we've been running in Owlbear Rodeo, right? Now, one of the interesting things is up in this chamber here, this chamber with this big thing, there's a monument that you can activate that launches an arcane eye, which meant they could use the eye to explore a lot of the other caves. So they explored all the way down here, and all of the little wolf tokens are the track the kobold, the vampires had left. So they followed that, and they have seen now, they avoided this room. They found out that there's a wraith in that room. They did not face that. I don't remember where it ended. Yikes. And they know that here are the vampires, but they haven't gone down to here, which is Tekeli-li's chamber. So that's definitely going to happen. I can't remember if we ended in the middle of a fight. Did we do another? Was there another fight? Gods, this is bad. I don't remember because I played 2 other D&D games since then. I'm tired, very tiring. So yeah, I don't remember. Maybe I'll check that encounter listing and see. We might end up skipping the whole drow stuff depending on how things go, because they're not really headed in that direction. So let's go back and we will generate a new session planning template. I think that prep for today would be pretty quick. We'll find out. Today is 7th. Yeah, 7th. Sunday Frostmaiden. I don't know that anybody is out today. I think we might have everybody. So character-wise, we have Ilda is a half-elf, half-Goliath. She has tasted the blood of Thrun because her vile stepfather gave it to her. And every time she rages, she's getting closer to Thrun, and she's physically getting closer to Thrun's sarcophagus. I don't know where that's going. That sounds pretty cool. Shadowhawk is being hunted by a bunch of drow known as the Night's Kiss. He is a half drow, half mind flayer, and he can hear the voice of the old one, but he doesn't know what it's saying. Alkin, it turns out, also has somehow been exposed to the blood of Thrun and has been here before. I don't know why. I don't think that came up. I don't think that came up again. Gorwen Alcazar is a secret noble of the Grey Castle family who has come here and is seeking profits and fortune. Perrin Fat Rabbit is a conspiracy theorist, a halfling ranger who was captured by mind flayers but escaped before they did anything terrible to him, unlike Shadowhawk, who actually did get a parasite in him. Candle in the Dark is a former member of the Xanathar Guild down in Skullport who escaped from the Xanathar's clutches and made his way to Icewind Dale along with his family and is now seeking to end the Endless Night to protect not only his family but all of his friends as well. So are there any secrets related? I think like how did Alkin get exposed to the blood of Thrun is an outstanding question that I have. Any other secrets? I think so. When we review the characters, you can kind of jump straight to character-based secrets. So what are some character-based secrets? Ilda, as Ilda gets closer to Thrun, her connection to the ancient horror grows stronger. I think that is a good one. I'm going to steal, let's see, we're going to open up in a new window. I'm going to steal some secrets from the last time. I know we talk about not doing that, but I'm doing it anyway. When you review the secrets, you end up stealing the secrets. And because I'm going to end up writing it down anyway. And so I think the Night's Kiss, this Night's Kiss secret stands just as strongly. But I think the secret is Alkin was exposed to Thrun's influence as well. The blood of the old ones, right? But who did it is a good question. Was it like an old shaman that was perhaps maybe an old shaman that was actually Father Limac? Maybe. I mean, we can do that one and see. An old Goliath shaman who was actually Father Limac gave the blood to Alkin when his father thought he was going to die. Maybe all of his strength and power comes from the fact that he has his blood in it. He was like, maybe he was weak and not going to survive birth. And then Father Limac and the guys of the shaman said, drink this and it will, drink this and it will work. And maybe it was the blood. Maybe that's like an Aachen secret. And that's why he dreams of this place. I think that might be cool. Any other character-driven secrets? I don't think anything from Perrin, because we did some Perrin secrets last time. Shadowhawk, we've got the Knight's Kiss. Candle, I don't know if there's any secrets for Candle. Candles, a lot of their stuff has all kind of come out. So I think those are the character-driven secrets. So the strong start, let me take a look at my encounters and see if we're in the middle of a fight. I really don't remember where we ended. Yeah, so they fought a skeletal juggernaut. They beat that thing. I think we just ended with them beginning to explore these halls. So they found weird ghostly stuff in this chamber, in this guy here. They know that there's a wraith in this form, but I don't think they engaged the wraith yet. So I don't think they're in the middle of a battle. They're heading quickly towards the kobold, towards kobold vampires. So I think we might have some kobold vampires show up. I think, where's the drow? I don't remember where the drow stuff is. I guess we'll find out. So what is a strong start? What will occur down here? So I think like the voice of the old one, right? We can reinforce this, right? Calls out to Aachen and Ilda. It's heard by Shadowhawk. All others have to save versus stress. So maybe it's now getting loud enough that they can hear it and it's echoing through their minds and blood's going to come from their eyes and they're going to go to their happy places. I like the stress effects table a lot. I'm using the stress effects table from the Lazy DM's Companion, the upcoming book, Lazy DM. I think that's interesting. Maybe a deep rumble. Rumble follows and Candle's egg shifts again. So that's cool. Scene-wise, the ghosts of the Netherese, these are weird hauntings, right? Not anything specific. The ghosts of the Netherese are going to be one. Another scene is what? So facing the Black Fangs, right? And then facing tekeli-li. They've already had a big fight against tekeli-li, so we'll see how that second fight goes. He's pretty dangerous on his own as a legendary creature when I beef up his damage. So I think that, and then, traveling deeper into, seeing the old one. And that one is a big vehicle for secrets and clues. Traveling deeper into the caves of hunger. And then exploring, this is a big one, exploring Yethrin. And I'm going to have to do more I've read up on the section on Yethrin, but I still need to kind of internalize it and think about what that actually means. So I've got my scenes. So what are some secrets? A very likely vehicle for secrets is going to be the corpse of the old one itself. And what would that be? So is there a connection between these ancient horrors and the Farum? I don't think so. I think they're different kinds of horrors, right? But I like this secret. Thrun wasn't the only creature pulled out of the void. That's a good secret. I think we'll keep this Netherese battle powerful monsters known as Farum. We got that. I like these guys. Netherese used what the elves had done to open up more. So I think I've harvested great beasts from other worlds like trapped in the ice. That's not really, they're about to find that out. That's not really a secret. I can steal a lot from last week's game because I have the 3 NPCs are all the NPCs I can steal. I can just drop those guys right in. That's handy. So what else? What are some other outer world sort of stuff? So I think one of them is that Father Limac was one of the elves from the Order of the Black Sword who stayed with Thrun's sarcophagus when the Netherese took it into Yethrin. It twisted and converted him into its caller. I think Father Limac is going to be kind of the last central villain of this. You know what? I wonder, I might not go back to using the oral stat block. I think I might have the boss of this adventure be Father Limac, and that's it. Right? I don't think I need to bring oral physically back in. Like the question is like, what happens? I don't. So Thaleron says, do you make any distinction between scenes and encounters? No. The first scene you wrote down seems to be more like encounter stylish, where exploring a ruined city sounds more like many encounters. Yes, I write whatever helps me, right? And so I keep these very loose. And yes, absolutely, they start with specific and they get to general as I go down. I'm just kind of keeping the outline of things in my head. They're not really, they can be encounters. Scenes can be kind of anything. And you're right, exploring Yethrin is a bunch of scenes. Traveling deeper in the Caves of Hunger is lots of scenes. And that's because they're covered in the book. So I don't really have to fill out every single scene because I've got all the scenes in the book. Where the first 4 are generally like a specific scene. I for some reason, like when I refer to encounter, the problem is like a scene may occur that might not, it depends on like an encounter. Sometimes we conflate combat encounter with encounter, right? Where an encounter could be an NPC talking to it. I'm not crazy about the word encounter. Frankly, I know it's the nomenclature and that's fine, but like, I think it's too rigid. And so I try to use, I just try to use scenes. Like you note that there's no encounter in here and it's for that reason that I call it a scene for that reason. So I hope that answers that question. What other secrets can they learn in the Caves of Hunger specifically? What are some things that they can pick up in the Caves of Hunger specific that is kind of leading towards what else is going on? Anything more about the blood? The creature in the ice isn't dead. Few of the creatures drawn from the void ever die. A branch of the Netherese delved into the art of chronomancy as a fallback for their dangerous experiments. That's going to be a big clue because they've seen, and they know they're probably going to get involved in that chronomancy because they've seen their own corpses from hundreds of years earlier. So they're like, how did our bodies show up hundreds of years ago, right? And I'm foreshadowing a potential option. So, but I'm going to put in a fail-safe in here too. The Netherese art of chronomancy had a tendency to bridge multiple worlds, creating all sorts of strange paradoxes. One world bleeding into another. This is again a multiverse, this is sort of the multiverse angle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got my 10 secrets, so let's just set those aside for the time being. Let's make our lives easy. I don't have to do any more secrets right now. So fantastic locations. I really don't have to do much because it's the Caves of Hunger and Yethrin. So I really don't need to. I link these every time, but I don't think I ever click on them. But I'm going to do it again now, apparently. So we will link Caves of Hunger and we will link Yethrin. It's kind of handy to be able to click on. I don't know that I ever actually do. The Doom of Yeth. So NPC-wise, we still have Rend Hollow, the Caller of tekeli-li. We still have tekeli-li. We have Janth Alwar is around. I don't think there's any other NPCs. There's the Knight's Kisser here. I'll probably improvise those because I'm not even sure where they're going to show up. Monsters are on the book, so I'm not going to worry about that. We do have a vampire, and we have vampire spawn. And I think I have have I been moving the Knight's Kiss guys ahead? Oh yeah, the Elite Warrior and Drow Mage. These are members of the Knight's Kiss. They're sticking around. Any kind of treasure. I think we'll stick with what's in the book, but we'll drop a relic. Rough spike of Oral that casts Stone Skin. Yeah, that's not bad. I like sort of relics of the Netherese. Plain Orb of Mystra that casts Circle of Power. That, so this might be an important one for them because if they're going to fight a Lich, it would really help if they had a spell like Circle of Power. Circle of Power. Let's take a look. Circle of Power is a really, really good one, and against areas of effect, it's really vital. 10 minutes, diffusing magic within 30 feet of you. It's a 5th level paladin spell. Till the spell ends, spheres moves with you, center name for the duration. Each friendly creature in the air, including you, has advantage on saving throws against spells and magical effects. When affected creature on a saving throw made against a spell or effect that allows it to make a saving throw takes only half damage, instead takes no damage. Yeah. Almost every Circle of Power is so broken. It's not broken. It's just really, really powerful. I'm nervous about giving that out. I don't think I'm going to give that one out. It's too good. Decorated Shard of Bishiba that casts Conjure Elemental. There's no Ice Elemental, unfortunately, but that's not a bad one. We'll see. We'll see what I'm giving out. So yeah, look, what has it been? It's been like 15, 20 minutes, and I've got all my notes ready to go. And that's because like I'm already running. I already know what I'm running, right? I know what I'm running. I know what we're doing. And Caves of Hunger is pretty straightforward. So this does give me the opportunity, though, to start to think about, okay, let's think 2 horizons out, right? Focus on your next game. My next game is in an hour, right? And worry about that. But I also want to think about, okay, can I do a little homework here? And think about Yethrin and how things are going to go into Yethrin, right? So there's all this stuff. So I'm going to replace Irathalis, the Demi-Lich, is sort of a wandering Demi-Lich that harasses the characters. Instead of the Demi-Lich, I am going to replace that with a real Lich. And the real Lich is going to be Father Limak. I think Father Limak is a Lich. I don't know that I need the stat block yet. I may not need the stat block for some, but because there's some priest, I think some books have Lich priests. I don't, man, there's so many books. So many monster books, that I could use a Lich Priest. You know what? For fun, let's take a look at Level Up 5e's Monstrous Menagerie, which I just got. And let's look at the Lich there and see see how their Lich looks. The Lich is going to be pretty hard because the characters are only like 7th, 8th level, right? They're not very powerful. It's going to be really hard to fight a regular Lich. So their Lich, 170 hit points instead of 130. So that's nice. A lot more hit points. A lot of spells, legendary resistances. It's hard for me not to skim read this. Rejuvenation, spell casting, 16th level. So this is a question. Isn't there something about the fact that you can't counter a spell that doesn't have a vocal component? Somebody in the chat can remind me if that's the case. Is that the ring by tongue is tongueless utterance important because it means that the Lich can't be countered? I don't know. Turn resistance, it's turn. I don't know why they even have advantage on saving throws versus turn. They're just given immunity. So it's got a paralyzing touch, 19, DC 18 or paralyzing. That's a big arc lightning. 3 creatures within 60 feet. Each creature makes a DC 18 dexterity saving throw. It takes 28 lightning damage. I like arc lightning. It's better than lightning bolt, right? Because it works well in Theater of the Mind. Firebolt. Plus 12 to hit, 16 fire damage. Thunderweave, DC 20 con save, takes 9 thunder damage and is pushed 10 feet. That seems, I don't know why you put a 9 damage thing. Blur, blurred for 1 minute. Attacks are made with disadvantage, and enemies can see, so it can blur itself. Fireball is a typical fireball. It's their weaker fireball. Confusion and disintegrate, 75 damage. Look at that. I don't know about a stat block that's 2 pages long. I'm not sure that's helping. I mean, everything's spelled out, which is nice. Finger of Death. This actually looks very familiar to my simpler Lich that I tried to do. So then it's got bonus actions. Eldritch Aura surrounds itself with a magical rune color glowing aura, right? So the nice thing is, like, you could run a Lich, and even if your characters are weaker, you could just skip like the Finger of Death, power, skip these big spells, skip Power Word Stun, skip Finger of Death, skip Disintegrate, and stick to the lower level ones, and it would be pretty lethal. It'd be pretty fun, and it wouldn't just wipe them out. It can cast a spell as a legendary action. That's pretty good. So Death Aura, each living creature that ends its turn inside the aura is 10 feet around it, takes 17 necrotic damage. Shield Aura, 35 creates a 35 hit point shield that takes damage instead of that. It's a Spell Shield Aura. Any spell cast within 5th level or lower from outside the spell can't affect anything inside the aura. So I can switch this out every turn. That's kind of interesting. Kind of a neat take on the Lich. It might be fun to run. I'm just a little worried that running a real Lich against the characters when they're this low level might be a little lethal. But I'm definitely going to have Father Limak as like an undead thing. I might go for one of the Kobold Press Liches that I think are a little bit more level appropriate. So there's a whole thing about the fall of Yethrin. I want to figure out about the Mythalars. So I'm changing things up so that there are Mythalars. I think there was a branch of the Netherese who used chronomancy to try to protect themselves in case their spells went bad, but they weren't able to activate them in time. So down there is a Mythalar that can be used. And if the Mythalar does, those who use it will be transported 2,000 years earlier. I think that could be kind of neat. And it could be a neat ending to the campaign. I don't know how that's going to play out. So then we have the Necropolis. It's a great big place. There's a lot of stuff going on a lot of places to explore, which could be kind of neat. And I don't see any reason why they couldn't explore. The question is, are they going to bother exploring? Or are they going to head straight in to the vault in the center? And then I guess the question is, do they need, do we want keys that are required to go to the vault, right? Probably. And then where do they get? We could do the collection key quest where they don't have to get them all. They only have to get 3. But, 3, it takes 3. Maybe it was 3 archmages and the Netherese were required to get down there. I should actually read the thing and remind myself how they're supposed to get down there. You know, does it describe how this works? So we got some fun. These tomb tappers, I'm looking forward to running these guys. What level? So there was a whole level thing here. Let's see about what they should, you know. Characters are 9th level and they first arrive at Yethrin. When at 9th level, you're ready to start taking on things like liches. And the characters are, let me just take a look at the characters and see. They are 8th. So I think when they defeat tekeli-li and they enter Yethrin, that will be their trigger to go to 9th level, right? And that will be fun. And then, you know, gloves are off at 9th level. I don't need to be nice anymore. No more Mr. Nice Guy at 9th level. You got 5th level spells. You can have all kinds of nonsense. So I'm not worried about liches. Tomb tappers. Look at these guys. 200 hit points, CR 10. These guys are pretty cool. You know, 2 melee attacks with a sledgehammer or with its claws. If it hits the same target, it can pull the creature 5 feet into its mouth and make a bite attack. Bite is 22 points. Sledgehammer does 27 damage. That's pretty cool. These guys plus 10 to hit, 27 damage. 2 melee attacks with a sledgehammer, 52 points of damage. Woo! So those guys are cool. Yeah, now that I'm really gumming, what I need to do is I need to just sit on my couch, put on some music, grab another coffee, and read up the whole Yethrin section again and decide and maybe keep my notes nearby and say, what am I going to... Yeah, so here's this. To pass through the force field that surrounds the spire of Erathalis and the Yethrin Mythalar, and I'm replacing this part. This is going to be the chamber that takes them down to Thrune. I'm not going to have them require that they do all of these things. Let's explore 8 locations in the city and translate. Do we want to have them explore all 8, or can they do just a few of them? I think it would be better if there was keys, right? This is kind of puzzly nonsense. I don't think I need that. Lots of ruins, lots of treasures. That looks cool. Look at that. That's going to be great. Oh, look at all the lore. A lot of cool lore. Look at all the secrets they've got. That's great. So I need to like read through these sections. I don't think they're going to get there today. And if they do, I'll just wing it. And then I'm going to, but I should read up on this place to see which of the places are like, I don't think do we need more hags? I don't know if we ever need more hags. So I don't know. But yeah, I think I need, it's a big place. Look at that. A lot of cool stuff though. I mean, there's a lot of neat things in here, right? A lot of neat stuff going on. Is that the Mythalar? That's really cool. The spindle. I need to dive deeper into this and see. Could it be that do I want to use a demi-lich instead of a lich? I don't know. So yeah, clearly I need to spend more time reading up on chapter 7. It's a great big chapter. It's very different than everything else. I have heard that it works really well. So, so I think that will work well. Fanalan says, could you comment on how you would present the players the city? How do you run such a type of exploration? I would probably, so I don't know. I need to read it more thoroughly, right? I need to read it more thoroughly and get a better idea of how I want to run this. But I expect that I will put the map out and they will be able to see it and they can decide where they want to go and then I'll narrate it. So almost not quite point crawl style, but pretty close to point crawl style. Because they'll see it from a ledge and I'll say like, here it is, right? And, they can kind of examine. I'll probably mention a few key points on here and identify those few key points and note some major things. But then if they see other things on the map and they're like, ooh, I'd really like to try that place out. I don't think I want them to have to explore 9 different locations in order to get 9 keys. I think it would be cooler if, like, in order to get to the central spire, 3 of the Netherese were required to do it. And that way, you only need 3 keys in order to get into the center, but you can pick which 3 you're going to go hunt down. And, we can do a little bit of a key crawl across the necropolis in order to do that. I think that means it can steer towards more fun. I guess it would be pretty handy if they had a guide. I don't know who would guide them. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there's an NPC in here that does guide. Why not 5 of 9? The reason you don't need 5 of 9 is I don't think anyone else is hunting the keys. So it's not a circumstance where they're going to fail because somebody else succeeded. The 5 of 9 quest works really well when you have 2 groups going after the same keys, or something else. It's the 9 of 9 is the bad one. The idea that you need all of them. And it's like, well, one fell down a crevice. You're screwed. That's the problem with an all, collect all quest sucks because one person gets away with 1 key, you're hosed. In this case, it's like this place has been dead for a long time. It's not like anybody else is down here collecting. Actually, that's not true. Because we have a villain here, Avarice. We have a secret. Oh, I'm so glad I've been thinking about this, right? I'm so glad we had this conversation. Avarice, the last remaining member of the Arcane Brotherhood, seeks entrance into Thrune's chamber and is hunting for keys herself. So in this case, is it bad if she's seeking out 3 keys and they're seeking out 3 keys? She may have gotten there faster. I don't know how, but she got there faster somehow. And they might start to get clues. Avarice has traveled through the caves of hunger. She used a horn of blasting to blast through a glacial wall. I think that would be pretty cool. And Avarice is an NPC. I don't know if she's going to show up right now. So there is a competition to get into the tower, but it's okay if both groups get enough keys to get it, right? Yeah, 1 of 9 key would be very lazy, right? You know, but you want them to explore a little bit more than that. So yeah, so I think that would work. So my homework between now and the next session, like I've got enough to run today's session without any problem, but they're going to go into Yethrin and I need to be ready for Yethrin. So I am going to take some good time and really dig in and read in Yethrin. I'm going to bring a bunch of index cards and a pen, and I'm going to take notes on things that I want to change or ways that I want to go or ideas so that I'll be able to run it effectively. Because that, from what I heard and what I will say, I complained about Frostmaiden in the beginning of the show. And what I will say now is the Caves of Hunger and Yethrin, 2 big chapters of this book, are really cool. So far, I like those chapters a lot. And so I think that will work out. And I want to give them their due. I want to give them their due. So I think that is it for today's show. So I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me this morning to ponder my Rime of the Frostmaiden game. It is always a great pleasure to hang out with people and to do this online. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this show and you want to help me out, you can subscribe to the Sly Flourish newsletter. You can subscribe to my videos on YouTube. You can support me directly on Patreon, or you can pick up any of my books. So thank you all very much. Have a great day and get out there and play some D&D.